What's going on, everyone? We are in the playoffs for the Rome 2 Cup of Nations for 2025, and I have a series from the first round. This is Simplified, aka Wobbly Penguin 64, against Sirius. So Simp has Suebi, Sirius has Arverni. Should be a very good matchup, quite an interesting one. Probably slightly Suebi favored, but Suebi has to get a lot of things right, whereas you might say like Arverni is slightly disfavored, but they also have the kind of easier game. Like mistakes, let's just say mistakes are more costly for Swaby than they are for Arverni. Basically, is the thing. So it should be quite an interesting series. I think Simplified won in the qualifying games. Sirius probably also won in the qualifying games. I don't quite remember, but I think so. That would make sense. Or would it make sense? No, it probably wouldn't make sense. Maybe Simplified didn't play the qualifying. I don't fucking remember. Anyway, let's just get right into it and see what happens. So right away, very interesting army from Sirius. That's Arverni, remember? So just a quick recap on the rules. So obviously, Cup of Nations, every faction has its own rules. Arverni has max 5 infantry, and 4 of them can be good infantry. That's chosen sword or better. Then I think they have like 11 infantry max. 3 same for infantry. So they can bring 4 heavy horse, but not 4 chosen swords, for example. And yeah, I think that that's roughly about it. Suebi, I think has like max 7 melee, but one of them has to be a club levy, and then like I don't really max 4 javcav, which might be slightly seeming like it might be slightly overpowered at the moment, but I'm not sure that that's actually true, as they don't really have any good cav. So obviously the weakness for Suebi is that they're very very light across the board, and they don't have great anti-cav in the sense that they don't have their own cap, basically. So it's hard to block the frontal charges. So Suebi's whole game plan is centered around how do we prevent a frontal YOLO from being extremely costly to our important units. Those being Wodenaz, Bloodsworn, even Swordmasters potentially. So let's look at the armies, and maybe they'll give us some insight. So 3 Dramatic Slingers up front for Simplified. He does have 2 Swordmasters, quite a heavy infantry force for Suebi, also with 2 Wodenaz. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 Bloodsworn. One is a gold chevron. Is that real? Only 52 melee attack. This is a fucking beast, I guess. But still only has 20 armor, so I don't really know if you really want that. There's a third Wodenaz there. So 3 Wodenaz, 4 Bloodsworn, 1 Club Levy, 2 Swordmasters, and a couple of Spear Levy. Looks like 2 Spear Levy. With the 3 Germanic Slingers, the 4 Javcav, and the Noble Rider General. So it's very strong, and you can see how he's deployed. He's got like his cheap units out here to eat frontal attacks, and then he has this like fucking wedge where his general can also charge forward to block, and he does have a club levy like here, so that's also a unit he could just sacrifice. He does have a bloodsworn here though, so maybe his general would try to block charges from this direction, the club levy would sacrifice itself to block here, and then you have spears across the board here with the support of the Javcav on the flanks to kind of shoot any YOLO charging cav. But still, I mean, this does look kind of dangerous. Like, again, the risk is if he misses a charge with his general, or he like, misses the micro, a charge here would literally just instantly win the game. For Arverni, no matter how much damage they take from Pila, the deaths would be immense in such a dense blob. Arverni does have to deal with these Javcav on the flanks early on. He has to screen, but he's taking quite an interesting army. Not one I necessarily agree with, but nonetheless, he's taken it. He's gone for the full cav attack, so he's got 3 Noble Horse and 4 Heavy Horse, so that's extremely expensive. Again, trying to play off the weakness of Suebi, but at that point, he sacrifices numbers and, like, quality of infantry, so he has only 3 Chosen Swords, he's got 2 Celtic Warriors, so 5 infantry against basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 quality infantry for Suebi. That's the one thing Suebi can really do. Because the Wodenaz are so good, and the Bloodstorm are so cheap, and the Club Levy, you can really bring a ton of good infantry with the 3 Wodenaz and the 2 Swordmasters, and then all these little cheap dudes that'll do a lot of damage with fast charge, of course. But even without fast charge, but with fast charge especially. So the quality of infantry is just so bad. So he's trying to make sure that his cav, basically, if each cav can snipe an infantry unit, right, then he basically is going to win the game. Because, well, hopefully more than one infantry unit, but there's 7 cav and 5 infantry. That's 12 quality infantry if we count the cav as killing an infantry unit with a charge. And then also he has some decent spear support with 2 spear warriors and 3 spear warriors and 3 levy freemen. But he has no missiles. He has very little defense against these jav cav, so he's going to require the frontal attack to be very, very strong. But with only 1 cav, you know, you could definitely see 7 cav being able to overwhelm 1 cav and at least getting a few good charges, enough to get value. These spears will screen the jav cav, and hopefully he can just overwhelm once a few of these infantry die. Because again, if like these Wodenaz go down, if a few of these Bloodsworns start to die, then all of a sudden, you know, you won't have the numbers to hold back just a full attack getting around the flank. And once the rear charges come in against Suebi, obviously those are going to be super devastating. So let's get into it now. Just skip forward. Slinger's just going to start dumping. Obviously there's no answer for this, so Arverni really just needs to rush. But this is really annoying because Suebi is super fast, so Arverni can't, or Suebi can't just run away and try to extend these cav. Like, he's going to do this. Now you can see, now the cav, look how far ahead of the infantry the cav are getting, because they're just faster. And that's going to allow these jav cav to kind of get some early shots. These will be sword side shots too, so I think I'm actually quite a few deaths. Okay, well, I guess I'm just a retard. But he's not quite set up here, because look how... Oh, so yeah, like, this unit is not going to get peel up probably, which means you'll probably get a nice charge into both units here. This unit didn't take enough losses early on, so it's going to smack into a Wodenaz again, should do a lot of damage. Okay, this unit is just going to hit this Spear Levy, probably Spear Levy will get some Pila. But again, then you have to deal with these frontal attacks. Okay, Spear Levy at least blocking the charge. Pila should come in behind. So let's see how much damage is done. Let's see if these guys actually get the Pila off. Always interesting. Ooh, not really. Not really. Probably the Slinger hurt a bit. But you can see the units behind should throw some Pila. Yeah, you can see are throwing some Pila here. So actually going to nuke this heavy horse. But here, Wodenaz going to take a lot of losses on the charge. Here, Swordmaster Wodenaz is going to take a lot of losses on the charge. And you can see the follow-up is incoming from the Celtics. Going to run over these units really quick. And now no fast charge has been popped. Fast charge obviously should have been popped here, right? Because you know the attack. Once he's charging YOLOing in, the attack is obviously going to come in. Damage, not great. He's going to click on, his general's clicking on this unit to block another charge that would hit his center, which makes sense. But you can see even these Bloodsworn, even though they're like the 3rd unit in line here, there was like a Slinger, there was like a Spear Levy I think here, the Wodenaz, and this Bloodsworn, the Bloodsworn already took 20 losses, Wodenaz took 10 losses, like 111 kills on the charge. Sure, a lot of them are Slingers, but still, that kind of speaks to the deadliness of this. This guy is going to die quite quickly, like alone here on the flank with Javcab support. You know, these guys aren't expected to get too much value, but they're going to allow these swords to get in pretty clean, so it's not the end of the world. Here again with the Javcab firing in, the Wodenaz do enough, so actually not that many losses on the Wodenaz. A bit surprising. Here again, Club Levy getting in, Spear Levy dead. But the Heavy Horse have taken significant losses, but the problem is there's just so much of it. And there's 3 Noble Horse that are untouched. Well, now they're getting touched a little bit. But now Simplified trying to get his attack orders in place. Gets this fast charge of Pride. Should be Pride, I guess. Yeah, it's Pride. But his general also got into a really bad fight where he went into like a well. He went into a well here, and he just charged into the middle of it, so he just got kind of surrounded. And now his general is kind of cooked, and these are only heavy, so they're not that strong. Again, getting charged by a Noble Horse there, which is very heavy. Swordmaster should do well here, but again, there was a charge into it, so it'll be a little HP depleted. Wodenaz trying to get in, but now you can see the overwhelming numbers. Because so many of these cheap units have died to the frontal YOLO, these overwhelming numbers get around the flank, and if these Noble Horse can just get around the flank or get through, you know, it's going to be super over, because the general is basically out of the fight for Suebi. He can't commit to any more fights. The Javcav are still alive, but because there's so many losses, like, the Javcav are really good when the fight is close. Because then, like, you know, if there's fights are winning here, it forces him to be more aggressive. It maybe forces these spears to commit, to hold the line. But now the spears can just go forward, and the cav can just come behind. There's not really much the Javcav can actually do. Here, you know, he does some guys in the back. These guys are going to get really good value. Nice micro from Simplified there. Getting the shots into the Javcav, into the cav, sorry, with the Javcav. But now the Noble Horse are getting around the flank. I mean, the spears are already there, creating a path, right? Creating a path that's opening up rear charge opportunities behind. Where's the gold chevron Bloodsworn? I need to know. There it is. Okay, it's got 40 kills. It's cooking. It's killed Levy Freeman though, so not the most value. And I can see these heavy horse are kind of dead, but those heavy horse were just sacrificial lambs because he knew he could use all 4 heavy horse, and then he would have 3 free, very healthy Noble Horse to get into these fights where the charges have already done a lot of damage from the heavy horse. So yes, the Javcav are alive, but the Javcav aren't going to do anything against infantry. The Javcav are literally only useful against cav. So if the cav kill the infantry of Suebi, which they are, and because of these like screening infantry units, the Javcav can't have too much impact. on the Arverni heavy noble horse, and so now it's just about killing the infantry, and this should be a pretty clinical win, honestly. Also, Suebi wasn't able to cycle charge very much because the fight was taking all over the line, and the infantry, the spears were dead. Those spears are really useful to just allow cycle charges to happen and get the Bloodsworn multiple charges where they actually start to really, really cook hard. Obviously, you don't need to do that with the Swordmasters, but it does help the Bloodsworn a bit. And you can see the infantry fight is pretty close, but over here it's pretty bad, and over here as well, where the noble horse are getting the charges. The center, where they weren't getting as many charges, is a little closer, but in the end, there's just too little too late. The general's still very healthy, this noble horse is still 30 men, and there's almost no cav. The Germanic Slingers also died on the charge, which really sucks. You want the Germanic Slingers to live behind your lines, because they can just start shooting cav all game and help kill them. But they kind of died on the charge. I think Simplified was maybe a little caught off by how aggressive Sirius was just committing, because he was committing way in front of his infantry. His infantry was following up, but they were kind of far behind. Maybe Simplified thought he wouldn't commit so aggressively for that. But he did. Sirius did commit behind that, and maybe caught him off guard a little bit. Caught the Slingers, got really nice frontal YOLOs. Again, with only one cav, the gen, there's not much you can do. And yeah, this is just going to be GG pretty much. Again, the Jav cav weren't able to get too much value. I think you need the Jav cav to be a little more on the flank. They kind of were behind his army, but then the spears pushed him back, so I don't know. That's tough. I think just the initial charges, because there's not that many, like, look, it's 18 units, right? So there's definitely value to be had with the extra units. Of course, 3 of them are slingers, but you got to go after the slingers at some point. But yeah, the infantry's got too much value. Too many of these units didn't get any value. Bloodsworn dying with nothing. Club Levy. Spear Levy, sure, that's fine, but 37 kills on a wood nest, 78 kills on a wood nest, 92 in a Swordmaster. Like, these kills are not really great. Jav Cav, nothing getting a chevron, meaning they weren't getting too many shots on Cav. But decent kills, but yeah, not enough. And the gen obviously was wasted. So a bit of a poor game from Simplified, but well played from Sirius, just taking the aggro and committing to it. I mean, that was his game plan, right? He brought the 7 Cav, so he's gonna go for the attack no matter what and just commit. And that's what he did. So he's gonna bring the same army again. Simplified said, okay, I'm gonna bring a slightly different army. Fuck the Slingers, those didn't do anything. Let's bring Germanic Youths with their 32 missile damage and obviously 15 bonus versus large. With the javelins, so we have 2 extra javelins. We got an extra cav unit. That's gonna help a lot. And so that should be pretty nice. We got 4 Germanic scouts, obviously. We got Bloodsworn, 4 Bloodsworn, 2 Swordmasters, 2 Spear Levy, 3 Spear Levy, sorry, 1 Club Levy, 2 Rodnaz, 2 Noble Riders, and yeah, 2 Germanic Youths. And the same army for Sirius, so it's 3 Noble Horse, 4 Heavy Horse, 3 Chosens, 2 Celtics, 3 Spear Warriors, and 3 Levy Freemen. For 18 units, but this time there's a lot more shit kind of to deny cav. Like, now there's just a front line of spears. Like, he's just gonna waste the 3 spear levy and the club levy to get insane Pila, and then he's gonna probably, if he uses fast charge, right? Like, think about it this way: if these 4 units are all cheap, they die to the heavy horse, but with the Pila from the second line and the javelin men and like maybe some counter charges. Now, okay, let's say the 4 heavy horse are like incapacitated, like they're almost dead after they do this frontal YOLO, and they only kill these light infantry. Then with fast charge, the 2 swordmasters and the 4 bloodsworn will easily destroy all this infantry, right? Like, not even close. And then sure, it's 3 noble horse, but there's 2 noble riders plus the 4 Javcav. So this makes sense. Of course, it's not guaranteed that the heavy horse are going to completely explode doing this frontal charge, and of course they might also get some value charging into these units behind. But now he's got a nicer setup. I think this just makes more sense, where last time he didn't have a lot of blocking units. He was like, his Rodnaz were in the front line, his like center was kind of open. Now he just has spear units everywhere, supported by javelin units. That just makes more sense, I think. He's got some Javcav. I like keeping my Javcav kind of in the center too, so if you want to run forward, then you're going to take shots all the way from the Javcav. Also, if they target a unit back here, like they click their attack order all the way here, you can just contact that unit with your Javcav before it's in the charging animation. Look, you can completely stop the heavy horse in their tracks, and obviously that'll allow you to get more javelins onto them, and also just mess up their micro there after re-click the attack order. So, I mean, you can see from the battle timer, it's only going to go one way. It's going to be a bloody fight, and one side is going to definitely take the win in a very quick fashion. So here we go. You can see Sirius just clicks. He just probably what he's done is clicking it. He's grouped, or he's not grouped all. He's select everything, run forward, and then as they're running forward, he's clicking attack orders. That's probably what he's doing, just based on this. You can see nice, like, look at his early shots into the heavy horse. That's good. Running backwards is a little risky, but look, his double shooting this heavy horse, so nice. He's gonna block his, he is gonna use his cav aggressively. There's two options, right? You can use his cav not so aggressively and save them for the noble horse, or you can go aggressive to save some of his infantry. So he's going for that option here. His general he's going to keep safe. So he's only using the one noble rider to block one charge. He'll probably actually get the better of this engagement, so that's also fine. And again, look how far the infantry for Sirius is. Like, it's literally just the five. Whoa, it's just the 5 melee units of Sirius that are anywhere near this. And look at all these units are like literally like 10 or 15, 20 seconds of walking away, maybe even more. So these units are completely out of the fight. So it's literally Simplified's whole army against like the cav and the infantry of Sirius with no spear support. And he's going to take additional loss because it doesn't get the attack order correctly here. Insta pop the fast charge, that was the right move. Here he's going to try to keep going, but he's got nice, this is very smart, he has the sword masters as his second line, because he knows that people are going to try to click on the spear levy, knock them over, and go forward. But now you're going to run to a much heavier unit, and you're going to run to mass peel fire. So yes, you might get some value, and that's what I was saying. The heavy horse aren't just going to suicide for this and die, they're going to try to get additional value. And the noble horse are kind of fighting early, which is a little risky. But now he's going to take so much peel of fire, so it's going to be a question of how much value can you get. And you can see he's still going to get in here, and he's still going to get some kills, but the sword masters do a good job. They're not really going to take that many losses. They're heavy. They're not going to take too many losses to like a few heavy horse models getting in. Here he blocked the charge, and again, because the support is so far away, and the javelins are really cooking here, it's the heavy horse going to take much worse of that engagement. Still got some good kills, though. Gets a peel on the Germanic Scout Riders. Not really going to matter too much. Now he's going to use his general, just get a nice charge into all these cav, and follow up everywhere. Here again, Swordmaster is going to eat the brunt of this charge for the Bloodsworn, sacrificing themselves very nicely. He's trying to throw javelins into the blob. I mean, Noble Horse are getting in, but again, they're not really getting a good charge into the Bloodsworn. Those are the units that can take, like, Swordmasters will start to take damage from those repeated charges, but they're so much better than anything that Arverni has to offer in this match, with the army that Sirius has, it's okay for Sim to take these charges on them. Like, these Bloodsworn are the one other Swordmaster are more than enough to win this. Like, he doesn't need his infantry to be super healthy. He needs the Bloodsworn to not get charged, because they will literally instantly die. And now Fast Charge, or actually, yeah, Fast Charge could pop Pride here as well and just commit, getting into all these fights. Wodna's gonna probably die over here to 2 units, but they're gonna buy some time, because again, you can see here, okay, Club Levy dying, that's not the end of the world. Javelin then just getting shots in, and that's forcing these cav to commit into the back lines, where then they can be summarily destroyed. Because you can see, look how far back these units are. Last game, when this fight was happening, the spears were literally already behind the enemy line, like they were flanking. Now this game, it's a little, the timing was bad. Again, that also helped because Simplified ran backwards, which is going to spread out the lines more, and he has to keep running to catch up. But this is so bad because now the rear lines are safe. He has 2 cav now to defend, and look at all 4 jav cav posted up exactly where you'd want them, to come support, to come flank, do whatever, shoot cav, and the infantry line, because of the formation, was much better this game for Simplified. So he should be fine. He's gonna bring his general with Pride and Fast Charge. I mean, insane damage on this. He's gonna get a rear charge from his other Noble Rider, so he's just gonna sandwich the gen. And that'll be a swift death for the Noble Horse here. There is some support coming in, but look at this, the infantry just winning. He's going to try to run away. Again, he sees this charge coming, so he runs back behind, the enemy units and his own unit here so that this charge does less damage. Makes a lot of sense. And now this guy's overcommitting for this, right? Now this unit is overcommitted. You can just countercharge and surround it, and it'll die pretty quick. Noble Horse still healthy, but he has, again, all this units. The Wodna is doing some work here. Again, the Javelin is just so devastating. 4-man Heavy Horse. Does need to shoot this down. I mean, the Noble Horse are getting in, but this is not a good fight for the Noble Horse. The Noble Horse are just, like, trying to ping-pong between units, but now they're getting shot. They're getting spread out. They're going to get meleeed down. And because the infantry fight's so winning, now we can afford to take some losses on the Bloodsworn in order to kill these cav. But these aren't clean rear charges, right? These are, like, trying to run between units, and half your models are over here, half your models are over here. You're not getting clean charges ever. That's not good. You want to get the cav cleanly around the flank, smack a unit in the rear, back up, smack another unit in the rear like you did in the first game. These, like, engagements are just terrible. He's gonna get shot by Jav cav, the gen is dead, and yeah, I mean, it's just a clinical win from Simplified. So this is kind of like best case scenario for Simplified. Last game was kind of best case scenario for Sirius. So both sides have played one battle quite well, and one battle will show them things that they need to improve. But I guess you'd rather be Simplified because now you have a blueprint to say, okay, I know I can win this. Like, my army is not the problem. And he knew that because he took the same, well, he did take a different army, right? So now he says, okay, I have an army that seems to win. Now it's on Sirius. Can he adapt? Does he want to take a different kind of army? There's no slingers, so you could go for, you know, I saw this army. I would probably go for slingers as Arverni here. Like, I don't know, remove a noble horse, go for 4 slingers, get better infantry, get no thorn, um, and go from there because that would give you so many free shots. Like, I mean, obviously the Germanic scouts can kill him, but you'll still have 6 cav. You can just frontally dump the Wodnaz and, you know, get an advantage that way. Or maybe, I don't know. But maybe he thinks his army's fine. I don't know. Obviously, he did win a game with them. But no, he does change it significantly, actually. Interesting. So, okay. So, simplified, you know, obviously the winner is going to keep their army most of the time, unless they expect a change that they can anticipate. But it's not clear exactly what Sirius would take, unless he had some prior knowledge, simplified. So, you know, he takes the same army, fine. Again, this is 2 Germanic Youths, 4 Bloodsworn, 1 Club Levy, 2 Swordmasters, 2 Wodnaz, 2 Noble Riders, and the 4 Germanic Scouts. But now a completely different army. He's gone super infantry heavy in a way that is probably unexpected. I don't know. He's got 3 slingers. He's got the noble horse and only 4 heavy horse. So he's not got 5 cav this time. Still obviously a large cavalry advantage, but significantly less than usual. And it's not that even that big with the 4 Germanic scouts and the 2 noble riders. He's got the 3 slingers, but he has 2 spear nobles, which is very interesting. He's got no thorn. He's got 3 chosen swords. And he's got the 1 Celtic warrior and 3 Levy freemen. No spear warriors this time. Obviously, he has the noble spears instead. I actually like shooting the chosen swords. Your chosen swords have only 55 health. You're getting sword side shots. So you definitely take that because again, you can see from the army comp that the cav is not going to be a huge problem. You don't need to save every little piece of ammo that you have for cav if you can get good shots on infantry, especially because he's gone for an infantry heavy army. But at the same time, do you really ever want to go infantry heavy against Suebi? I mean, maybe it's fine because he still has enough cav to make some impact, but he has the slingers to force Suebi forward. But you're really testing fate if you want to run into a fast charge and take you're paying like, you know, so much for these spear nobles, Oathsworn, and 3 chosens. Now your infantry is super strong, maybe even enough to win the game, but you really have to make sure you get it right against the fast charge. And if you sacrifice too many heavy horse, it can be a little disastrous because there's just so many good infantry units. There's 2 swordmasters, so that counts for like no thorn and maybe a spear noble, a little bit better than a spear noble. You still have the Wodnaz, which can win 1v1 against the chosen swords with the fast charge. The bloodsworn, there's just a ton of them, and they can kill anything with some good cycle charges. So it's not clear the infantry is actually that much better. Now you only have the 3 Levy freemen, so the Jav Cav are just super annoying. All game gonna get decent shots. And getting sword side shots like that, instant 2 kills on the chosen sword. More maybe? No, they got their shields up in front that time. But the slingers will be annoying. Will force the Jav Cav eventually to do something, unless the frontal fight is just winning. So let's see. Here comes Simplified. Not really worried about the slingers too much initially. The high block chance of Suebi is going to help a lot here. Just walk it up. Sirius, of course, is happy to just skirmish. Makes sense. But Suebi's quite fast, right? Now he has his Germanic Youth out on the flanks here. Not really sure what the deal is with that. Probably just absorb missile fire. Nice sword side shots here. Surprise isn't going to kill. And here we go. So let's see the charges. He's going to lead the attack with his general charging into a spear levy. I'm not sure. I really love that. So, I mean, yeah, of course. Simplified would say, okay, I will take these free Pila on your general, even if it loses my spear levy. Swordmaster going to come up here. Nice Pila volley. Not going to get too many kills, but it's that HP damage that matters. Turns the slingers around, so he's going to dump the shit out of the Germanic scouts. That's good. Here, though, the Swordmaster going to get a nice charge here. But he's fighting where there's no fast charge. That does make sense. Here, I mean, he's going to kill the Germanic Youth, but this is a kind of ridiculous idea. He's going to get swordside Pila volley and dumped in the side by the Germanic scouts. So instantly down 10 men to kill half a Germanic scout. Not sure about the value there. Swordmaster going to go for those spear nobles. Just kill them off with good value. Here, though, another heavy horse. He's going to use the Wodnaz. I would just use the club levy, but whatever. Here comes the fast charge. He said, look, I see there's fights everywhere. I'm going to take my entire strong force to one side. This charge is not too great, though, so that's good. A lot of the unit got actually stuck here. So the Wodnaz should clean this up pretty okay. Jav Cav is shooting into the blob as well. General has to block a charge here. Spear Levy blocking a charge. So again, he's done a good job of not letting the cav get value. And now that means his infantry are going to be able to cook with a fast charge. So he's probably going to lose over here. Well, maybe. I mean, you got the Swordmaster and the Wodenaz just fighting it out. And again, he has good cover against these cav. There's no rear charges that are going to come in. So these fights are relatively safe. And that's probably why he chose to come this way. Because here's where the Oaththorn and the Spear Noble is. Here there's no Oaththorn. It's just the Spear Noble and the Chosen. Here there's Chosen, Oath, Spear Noble, Chosen. So he's going to, of course, bring his fast charge to this way and just clean up and try to get as much value with the fast charge against his heavy infantry force on this flank. Because he knows he can probably win the infantry fight over here fairly comfortably. Trait, damage traits here. The Noble Horse getting the advantage. The Noble Riders getting the advantage. Bloodsworn, fast charge in. I mean, just like triple fast charge. This is not a good idea, by the way. Should definitely be cycling into over here with a fast charge unit so they can help kill these units. General just getting absolutely ass blasted by the fucking Scout Riders. And this, you can see it's a difference, right? Last game, Simplified had much more of his Scout Riders like positioned here on the flank, kind of in the rear. This game, he's just posting them up behind because he knows there's less spears to flank. And if they flank, then of course the slingers are a target. And if they start flanking, then cav that retreat, like the general here, are just going to get ass blasted. Where he still has some flank control, so he can still prevent that. So now it's giving Sirius a problem, right? Does he flank and try to get rear charges? In which case he's going to be slow, the slingers are going to be isolated, and anything that backs up is going to die. Or does he just protect the slingers? Okay, then you're not flanking, then you're relying on your infantry to win, but are they really going to win with this fast charge? So he's not going to be able to get value with the cav unless he goes around. If he goes around, then, he's going to kind of enter the den of getting shot by the Jav cav, and the slingers are probably going to die. So, that's not good. But he is starting to get some value here. Spear Nobles are losing. Chosen Sword's winning, though. So this flank is kind of equal. Here's a cav in the back lines, though. That's huge. He did sneak a small heavy horse, well, 30-man heavy horse, not that small, into the back lines. But I would like to see more cycle charging here. If he has 3 units here, just bring one out, recycle, recycle, recycle all the time. And now, gaps will start to appear after some smaller, the cheap units, the spear levies, the club levies are starting to die. There will be gaps. The general is fairly healthy. There's still some Jav cav, there's still some returning units. And if he just cycles, then he has more Pila available to plug gaps with, essentially. But yeah, the Jav cav doing a good job. I only see 3. Maybe one is dead. Not sure. Oh, maybe I got killed here. Oh no, it's here, okay. So all 4 Jav cavs still chilling. Again, anytime you can get any rear shots on infantry, we definitely take those as well. Swordmaster gonna die here. But the cav did get through on the right side, so this is not over. The left side, though, again, if he was cycling, it would be so much better. Like, the Bloodsworn have a 33 charge bonus. You want to be using that as much as possible. You're grinding against an Oaththorn when you could be cycling. But the cav actually remained out pretty healthy. There's a full heavy horse here. The general is very weak. That's a big problem, though. And the cav for Suebi is also pretty healthy. Like, there's a 41-man unit here. There are 28 and 22, so he essentially has 2 half-strength units and a full-strength heavy horse, but the problem is the noble horse is pretty much dead. And there's a half-strength and a 3/4 strength noble rider here, or 2/3 anyway, and there's still quite a few Jav cav, 3 Jav cav. So the cav fight is not clear, but because there's no cycle charging going on, it's not that winning here yet. There's Bloodsworn here. I mean, the grind will eventually win for the Wodenaz. I mean, the Wodenaz is super healthy, Swordmaster is super healthy, so the infantry is going in the favor of Suebi for sure, but on this flank not so much, but still they did kill the Spear Noble. Swordmaster's pretty weak there though, 72-man Chosen Sword will get the job done. There's a Chosen Sword here at 73, so the infantry's not dead yet, 34 Spear Nobles, but I mean there's like 5 units of Bloodsworn here. So that should do a lot, but the cav is cooking, and the gen is weak for both sides, so he has to be careful about that. Slingers still alive though, all 3 slingers, and the slingers could prove devastating in the late game. If they can target these cav, they still have a chance. Of course, there are still the Jav cav, but there is still quite a few heavy horse. And so the Swordmaster is dead, so the right flank of Simplified has fallen. And the left flank is not quite winning yet, and now the slingers are going to start to activate, getting nice shots here. But a huge Jav volley from these Germanic youths, getting their value there on the gen, but I don't think the gen died. No, General's actually nearby, so General certainly is alive. But these Jav cav are going to start to struggle, especially if the General dies for Suebi, which I guess it didn't there, even though his general is also quite weak, to kill these slingers. Like, with the cav alive, the slingers can still cook. And they are cooking against the gen, but he got out of range, so almost out of range. These Levy Freemen don't have Pila, which is very lucky. And, you know, again, the grind is going to continue to go. The heavy horse are starting to falter, though, you know, just taking attritional losses all the time. You can see the small Germanic Scout Rider getting in here, but they don't really do anything, even to light infantry. Like, they're very light, like, they just kind of die. There they go. Let's see if this guy does. 6 men left. Steady. Get him, boys! Get him! Okay, not getting him. But the Levy Freeman will come and get him. But the infantry, yeah, finally the Oathsworn dies. There are still some Chosens left. And the Bloods aren't super heavily. 60, 36, 73 Swordmasters, though, 58 Wodenaz. That's quite a strong force. General here, very weak for both sides. This guy's just currently wavering with 4 men, but one of them is indeed the General. Which guy actually is the General? I don't know which guy this is. Oh, I guess it's the frontal because it's this guy. Okay, he kind of looks like the rest of them. But whatever. He's definitely still alive. Let's see. Do the Jackab have ammo though? These guys have ammo, so they could instantly kill the general. These guys probably don't have ammo. But yeah, 4 men. I mean, still very close. At this point, you know, the slingers, again, if the slingers can stabilize and survive, I mean, these are 70 men. Like, they're wavering, but they're probably winning this fight. I mean, it says they're winning, okay. But with some slinger fire here, yeah, that should turn this around pretty quick. Jackab get a nice charge, but the Levy Freemen are doing things. Again, here, the slingers are dying, but they're not routing, so they're still alive. If you can... Oh, he just doesn't have the cav, though. I mean, yeah, he doesn't have the cav to protect against these Jackab. He needs to get his slingers, like, concentrated, I guess. But long term, I feel like it's too hard with the 2 Javcav alive, just to, and even the Gen, you know, 16 men, of course, he can't take a frontal volley, he might die, the general might die, but if the slingers are pressured, he can get in there and finish them off, and that would be a worthy trade, to lose the general to kill the 2 slingers, because infantry is definitely just better here. 59 Bloodsworn, 58 Wodenaz, and 70 Sword Masters against 72 Chosen Swords, so you just win that fight directly. Bloodsworn can kill this unit, Wodenaz can kill everything else. Bunch of Levy Freemen that are healthy, but kind of useless. Also a 32-man club over there. Like it was Chevron before the game. But yeah, the slingers are concentrating. They're getting in here. Trying to... You guys have javelins? Oh, these guys actually do have javelins. Didn't realize that. They do, so even though they're meleeing, it still looks like they have javelins. So he has to be very careful. And I don't think he can hold this. Like, the 2 Javcav both have javelins. I guess the other one did die. So, well, this is a big-ass Javcav unit. He can walk up close, get the general down. He's going to be very, very careful to keep these guys alive. And then just a full frontal rush will be absolutely enough. Everything, tired Chosen Sword, winded, active, fresh, okay. So, stamina not a problem. Well, you can see he's trying to do this. Finds an opportunity, and there he goes. And now, this is really smart from Simplified. He knows the general just died. Morale is shit. Now you don't have to worry about killing the slingers. You can just rout them. And he's going to do exactly that. He's going to get in here. Insta-rout this slinger with the rear attack. Insta-rout this slinger with the rear attack. And that should be kind of GG. Because now you have the general alive. You have the better infantry. The slingers are all dead. The morale is going to be dog shit. And, you know, this unit is also tired. 23 men. But now I can just click wherever he wants and kind of just win. Although I don't think this was the thing to do. Sacrifice the club levy for literally nothing. He's still pressuring. Actually, this slinger didn't route somehow, but eventually it will. Oh, it's still getting out. Morale is OP in this game. But now he creates a blob. The Swordmaster gets in. Actually, almost gets a bad charge, but it looks like they're actually getting value, so it's all good. And yeah, this should be fairly clinical. Again, only 18 units. Still don't love that. Like, I think you could just split this into like 2 spear warriors or something. But yeah, just to get more units, because again, he had this problem where he couldn't flank because his infantry was engaged, and his Levy Freemen were busy dealing with the rear lines, and it was just GG at that point. Um, so yeah, he might want to go more units to, you know, kind of enable him to surround while also defend against the Javcav, because those are the 2 things that matter. The infantry did well. I mean, 130, 250, 124. Spear nobles, though, I mean, just not getting the value. They fought the sword masters, to be fair, so that's kind of bad. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem worth. Like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna kill Wodenaz? Maybe, but not a cost value trade. Like these are really anti-cav units. Wodenaz are good anti-infantry. These are really anti-cav units, and there's not a lot of cav here, so I'm not sure that makes the most sense. So maybe some questions for maybe some questions for Sirius to solve here as we go into game 4. Alright, so yeah, let's go look at the next game. And yeah, so Sirius has to decide if his army was, well, I think we saw the answer right here. He decided his army was not right with the nobles, which is correct. Now, I will say that this game was first played, Simplified 1, but he did a pretty clear and obvious pull through it. It was not intentional or anything, but it was big enough to replay the game. So this is the replay, which again does matter. I mean, the armies are the same, but you know, Sirius will get some more data to understand how to win this matchup with these armies. So still something to look at. So actually, a slight change. Maybe he thinks. I think what Simplified thought was, look, nothing's been working. He took less cav last game. Maybe he'll do it again because he's brought 2 Germanic Slingers instead of the Germanic Youth, which I'm quite interested in why. But anyway, he's got Bloodsworn, Spear Levy, Wodenaz, Spear Levy, Wodenaz, Spear Levy. 2 Club Levy, 2 Wodenaz, 3 Spear Levy. 2 Swordmasters, 3 Bloodsworn. What? Okay. 2 Jav, 2 Cav. I'm not really sure what he's done in his army before Jav Cav. So he used to have 4 Bloodsworn, now he only has 3. He still has the 2 Wodenaz, so he hasn't improved there. Still has the 2 Cav, hasn't improved there. Club Levy. Oh no, it's still Bloodsworn. So he does have 4 Bloodsworn still, okay. Never mind. But his deployment is slightly different. It's much more condensed. He's got the Bloodsworn on the edge, which is a little weird, as it's just a free charge. He's got the Club Levy over here, fine. And just super condensed, super fast charge rushy. He's got the 4 Jav Cab, but he has the 2 Slingers this game. Could be good for the end game. And yeah, the army is the same for Sirius's game 1, game 2, basically. He's got the 3 Noble Horse, 4 Heavy Horse, 3 Chosen Swords, 2 Celtics, 3 Spear Warriors, and 3 Levy Freemen. Again, he hasn't tried a single 20 unit army, which I feel like is just a bit of a disaster, kind of, but whatever. This time he's got the Slingers to at least force the engagement his way. That will kind of help, but he doesn't have the Javelin men. And remember, last game he brought the Slingers, he did not win. That was game 1, or last game he brought the Slingers, he did not win. But the Slingers also just instantly died, so maybe if they don't instantly die, it'll be a little better. Instantly getting some shots, gets a kill. Very nice. Javcav just parking it on the flank. Gonna run away. Not running away very far though, he's kinda like just gonna reset a little further back. Force Sirius to think a little bit. Here he's gonna go for the attack, which decides better against it. Starts clicking on the Heavy Horse. Sirius recognizes that. So here comes the main attack. Again, this is where I would start my attack as well. You just get a free Bloodsworn to kill. Yeah, sure, you will take some peel on this for sure, but honest, still value to kill a Bloodsworn. And you can see most of these peel actually miss. 9 casualties in total with some fire here, but instant Bloodsworn is dead. Here, actually, a rare aggressive maneuver from Simp. This is not great. I would argue this is just a bad move. Yeah, he's gonna lose 4 men literally for nothing. So it was misguided to go for that. Here he's just gonna win. This is Sirius with the Chosen Sword, killing this Bloodsworn off, no fast charge, no worries. But here, okay, this Heavy Horse now is gonna get a nice charge into these units. Might explode with all the Pila though. It's only 1 Pila volley. Not even a very good Pila volley, so nice charge here, but the Swordmaster gun kind of tanks that. And of course the Spear Levy as well. So not the best charge, and again, very isolated, like, I mean, there's no infantry follow-up, right? So this is actually just kind of a suicide run, because there's no infantry to come and support this fight for a second, which will allow Simplified to regroup and recharge. I mean, okay, this Heavy Horse is just dead. Pila coming in from all angles. Slingers dumping the cabs. The Slingers this time are not instantly dead. Ooh, big Pila volley there. 20 kills. Pila volley, very nice. Now here comes the fast charge. A little late, because now this is not gonna get he's not gonna get a click here. But he's getting sword side Pila. It's still a really nice charge for the Wodenaz, which do kind of win the 1v1 anyway. Here, Celtic Warrior gonna die very quickly. Oh, General, this is so risky. If he just gets Pila here, oh, why would you ever turn around? You should just Pila that shit. Nice charge from the Noble Rider here. Again, it's a little spread out. There's fights kind of going all over the place. We got units dying out here, Bloodsworn dying out here. Overextended units here, overextended units. That Heavy Horse was overextended for quite a while in the blob. I mean, it's just very strung out, which I'm not sure who that favors yet, though, to be fair. Because some of these are fights with the advantage of Suebi, or Arverni, some of them are in sort of favor of Suebi.
We serve
No Pila there, so a nice charge, but I mean, the unit is pretty much dead anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Here, Swordmaster's gonna get in. No, okay, the Spear Levier in, these are the Swordmasters running away here. They are starting to lose some men. A repeated charge, oh, no charge there though, and you can see the Jab Cav in support. Here though, gonna get some nice charges. The Cav stacked up on top of each other for Suebi is not great. Oh, it does block a charge though, that was big to block the bigger unit, because this unit should death side of Pila. Yeah, it gets blocked by the Swordmaster, so a lot of blocked charges everywhere is gonna hurt. But there's not that much infantry here, so this Noble Rider is just gonna die. He does pull out a Wodenaz, very good decision. That will force, yeah, that just force. Like, the fact there's a Wodenaz here, Arverni's like, hell no, I can't fight that shit with my Cav, because that's just a big blob where the Wodenaz will cook. And now, you know, the fights on the edges are just winning. And this was a problem, right? The problem we saw here was that with this army, it's much more reliant on the Cav to get value than the infantry, because there's only 5 infantry, and 2 of them are Celtic warriors, plus the Spear, sure. But we know that if the Cav aren't killing Suebian infantry, then of course Suebi's infantry is just going to win long term, and that's exactly what's happening. Swordmaster killing Chosen Sword, Swordmaster dying to Wodenaz and Bloodsworn combo, and sure there is shit in the rear, now there are spears, but the Cav took so many losses, and it wasn't synced with the infantry, that now of course there's just too much Suebi. This should be completely winning. Pride gets popped, so this blob is completely winning for Suebi. Huge Swordmaster, and again the Cav is healthy, but the infantry is just dead. And of course that's not gonna get you anywhere with the Jab Cav still alive, with the 2 Suebi Cavs still alive. And after that early mistake with Noble Rider, the Noble Riders have taken almost no losses. Suebi Cav very weak because of just suicide, too many of them in bad spots and without proper infantry support, and only now are the spears activating. Remember, the other game, it was the spears were getting here and the Cav was getting behind, but look where the Cav is, all backed up in the corner. Most of the infantry of Arverni is already dead, so it's just mistimed. Like, Suebi, when Arverni got the advantage here and killed this Bloodsworn, they should just be running around the flank with the spears and going from here in and attacking this side and not attacking everywhere. Because you attack everywhere, well, you can, but then your Cav is very spread out, and because so many of the Cav was already wasted, then it was bad. If you can attack everywhere with healthy Cav, it's fine, I guess. Because if you spread out, then of course it's harder for Suebi to defend their lines, but was not able to be done because the attack was very centralized, and it was just a few units on the flanks, which Suebi can deal with the Jav Cav combo, with the few Noble Riders, and with the Spear Levy and stuff to sacrifice. Sacrifice their lives, basically, and now the Spears are just jerking off in the rear lines, not really going to get any value, and there's counters for the Cav that are healthy. So it was just not a coordinated attack here from Sirius, and Suebi just eats that alive with their superior infantry. Like, these Cav need to get value while the infantry are still fighting by getting recharges. If that doesn't happen, then Suebi's infantry just wins. If Suebi's infantry just wins, then the spears and the Cav remaining are not nearly enough to defeat the Jav Cav and the remaining infantry, with the healthy Noble Riders as well. So yeah, I mean, he's got a full Jav Cav here as well. Could go kill the Gen. But yeah, well played. For Simp there, I don't think he did too much. I mean, he honestly made some mistakes. I didn't like his deployment. I think his deployment in game 2 was the most logical one. And game 3, I guess, was similar, but the army was different for Arverni. But yeah, I think just Sirius kind of terribly coordinated his attack, so that will be punishing. And now he's going to use the Scout Riders just to get these Chosen Swords in melee, force the Noble Horse in, and here comes the Needle Volley to really make a dent there. And of course, there's still a healthy Cav here. And the other Noble Rider is dead? I guess the other Noble Rider is dead. How the hell did it die? It was full strength, I feel like. Maybe the Gen killed it. I don't know. But the Slinger is still dumping. Cav's still alive. And at this point, really, what Suebi needs to do is just consolidate. Whoa! But still getting shots with the Slingers, that's really nice. Even a few kills on this doesn't really matter. He just needs to consolidate. He has a full wood now. He's got a full Swordmaster, like, not full, but healthy Swordmaster, healthy Club Levy. Some infantry here, some Pila volleys. Oh, and get the Pila off here. Slinger is still alive, just dumping the Cav. We'll get the kills. Has enough Cav here to deal with the problem. Well, his general could die here, but there is a Swordmaster kind of nearby.
Move it!
And actually just some mids. I wouldn't have admitted there probably, but it was over. Healthy Swordmasters. Healthy Wodenaz. Yeah, you're not going to win this with just 2 Cav. And yeah, so Simplified wins series 3-1. Sirius got that first game, but Simplified reacted very well, I would say, in terms of how he deployed his army. Made the change with the skirmishers, which I guess was helpful, and yeah, just overall played it very well, especially with the Jav Cav. Didn't really lose them for anything. Played the patient, was able to win the infantry fight with the fast charge, and deal with the YOLO Cav charge, which was the biggest thing. And yeah, so nicely done. Well played to both players, and hope you guys enjoyed. The tournament will be moving on to the rest of the playoffs. I think it's single elim this time, so it should be a little faster. But yeah, a lot of good games to come. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Peace.